topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Hi, I'm Shelby Wagner, and I want to welcome you to Learning to Dance in the Rain, where we have conversations about overcoming, dealing with problems and overcoming them, and sharing information to help you to improve the quality of your life. Today's guest is me. Sorry about that. And there are so many scams out there today that I want to talk about. And so you're going to have me to do it for a little bit here. I hope that we can make this an interesting and exciting show. It's such an awful subject. I found out today, oh my gosh, now there's a loyalty points scam. I don't know, but here people are stealing our loyalty or our rewards that we have earned by having certain credit cards and whatever. But it says what they are doing is offering that your loyalty points have expired or will expire soon, and they want you to redeem them quickly and ensure that they're real before you ever click on anything. If somebody sends you a text message that something is urgent, you need to take care of it right away, and they give you a link in there to do that, don't click on it. Please don't click on it. Check it out with the credit card company or the bank with a number that you know is real and goes to them, because you know what? Just Thursday night, it was a holiday, right? And I checked my emails before I went to bed. And do you know that I received 23 emails that I had either won something or thanking me for buying a new product at $559 or $1,700, a new iPhone. I mean, I got 25 of these in one email check. Late in the day. I won a Stanley Tools kit. I won McAfee free security, internet security. Dell Inspiron, I think that's a computer or something, and I won that. I said the Stanley tool set also. How about a Makita power tool? A power drill it was. I had won that also. And this one was, let's see, Predata 3,500 watt generator. Yep, I won it, whatever that is. And then there was a Shell reward of $100. And a Medigar, what is it? Getting mixed up here. Not Medicare, but the other one, Medigap, for access and sports and a grocery card and all of that. And then there was a DeWatt, I can't even read my own writing. Wet dry vacuum. Well, yeah, I need a new wet dry vacuum. How did they know that? But win it? No, I had not tried to win any of these things. They just showed up on here. A Keurig. Well, I already have a pretty new one. I could have got a new one, I guess. But Ace Hardware, it said. And these darn websites, when they send you uh, an email like I got, how do I know that they are fake, that they come from a scammer? Well, it's really kind of hard to tell. But number one is, did you sign up for some contest where you would have won that item? If you didn't, then it's not you're not gonna win something just out in the air somewhere. There, it's not going to happen that way. So, um, even FedEx had said they had contact. They wanted my contact information to send me something. Norton was a $279.99 service for my protection on my internet. A Hart cordless 6-ton something or other. Anyway, just an idea. I think probably there were, might have been even more that I didn't recognize. But in one email on a holiday night, 25 of these fake winnings. $379 they thanked me for a McAfee. Really? McAfee Internet of Service Protection. I knew right away that none of these. There was airline and hotel loyalty accounts that they wanted to give me 50,000 points or something for scheduling a vacation with them. So I think it's disgusting that we have to put up with all of this. But anyway, I want to talk about what happened to one of my friends this past week. He had accessed some service and had finished up his business with them, and all of a sudden his computer made a loud noise and locked up, and he couldn't do anything with it. And it said something about warning, your computer has been damaged with the virus or whatever. You need to call Microsoft right now. And it gave the Microsoft number, except that it was not the Microsoft number. But he didn't know that. It scared him, it startled him, I should say, when he heard that loud noise. And then it said that his computer had been hacked and whatever. And that's another scare tactic. If you suddenly something happens on your computer and then you read the screen and it says Microsoft is warning you, and here's the number that you can call to fix it. So he called it, and he had to wait for someone from a foreign country to come on and fix it. But it was all a scam, really. And how do I know that? Because it happened to me several years ago, exactly the same way, exactly the same message. I was all shook up, and I didn't know better at that time. And I let them come into my computer. And that's what my friend did last week. And while they were in there, who knows what they were going to do. But they wanted to get, in order to fix something, I had to give them a credit card number or my bank number or something. And all of a sudden, that was a red flag to me. And I said, what? You don't have to get into my bank account. What are you doing? And then I thought, Shelby, this is a scam. And I tried to turn off my computer right away, and I couldn't. So I pulled the plug. Oh, my. Then what happened? Well, I pulled the plug, and they started calling me on the telephone. And I said, I hung up. I think it was back at that time that I didn't know even how to block block my cell phone, to somebody that I didn't want to come in there. So finally, I just picked up my phone, got my purse, and went out to my car, and I drove over to the police station. And it was after hours. And so there was finally one police officer who came out. He was ready to go home. And I told him, he says, may I help you? And I told him what was going on and that this man would not leave me alone. And so the phone rang while I was talking to the police officer, and it was him. And the police officer said, "Give me the phone." So he took the phone and he asked the guy what was going on, and then he says, "You leave Mrs. Wagner alone. This is a scam, and she doesn't need any help from you anymore. So leave her alone and don't call again." So he hung up, and then he told me just to, I think he may have uh, blocked them that number, but I did get another call from on um, a different number that came in. So that was about the time that I learned that if you don't understand or don't recognize the telephone number, the best thing you can do is don't answer the phone. Because if you answer the phone and you're preoccupied about something else, or it startles you and you can't even think, um, it's not going to be a good sign. So I advised my friend to contact um, a company in his town that was reputable, and to have them look at his computer and see what they could do to remove whatever virus or whatever hacking information was still on there. So I want you to really, you have to really be vigilant, and um, whenever these calls come through, how do you know? I said that already, but another way to tell, well, how urgent, is it? Oh, you've got to do it urgently. That's one sign. And then grammar, these calls come a lot from foreign countries, and their spelling is not really perfect, and their grammar is not well. So if you see a lot of misspelled words, that could indicate to you also that it is a scam. What is a scam? Well, in my book, I had one out here, Scams, a resource guide, which I wrote and published a year ago to help people recognize whenever they were being scammed. And so I started the book with a definition from the Internet Dictionary. And it said a scam is the term which describes any fraudulent business or scheme that takes money or other goods from an unsuspecting person. I have been hearing more and more lately where, especially with romance scams and cyber scams, pig butchering and that the law, the officers will say, well, there's nothing we can do. That's what they told me 5 years ago, 6 years ago. There's nothing you could do. In a romance scam and in the pig butchering scams, these people that contact you, they start out being friends. They start out telling you how wonderful you are and how much they like you. And this can go on for several days. It can go on for weeks or months even, where they are trying to get you to like them and trust them, so that eventually they're going to have an emergency and they're going to ask you for money. As I told you in my book, Learning to Dance in the Rain, I wrote it because I wanted to help my readers to know how these scams work, how to recognize whenever they were involved in a scam, and also how they could just avoid it altogether by looking for certain signs. And in my book, I had red flags of that told you they were scammers. They told me they were scammers. I had a flash go on in my mind and said, aha, this guy's a scammer. And it wasn't long before he asked me for money. And that is the proof that he was a scammer. Also, lately, they've been saying that it's not a crime for somebody to scam you. So, what do you mean it's not a crime? It says right up there, fraudulent business. A scam is a fraudulent business or scheme to take money away from an unsuspecting person. So they butter you up. They make you feel good and they get you to like them and trust them. And then with a romance scam, they have an emergency and they need the money now. You need to send a wire. That's what used to be. Now it's invest in crypto and in cryptocurrency. Bitcoins was for me also gift cards. And this one guy that convinced me to invest. I could make some money quite fast by investing in Bitcoins, and that would help me pay off some of my debts, I thought. So I trusted him and I did what he told me to do. And I lost all that money. Again, all of my investment money because I trusted the wrong person. Oh my, it's just getting so, I don't know, where's our world coming to? I was looking today on my a newsletter by I think Kim Commando. I was looking at two websites. Kim Commando has a podcast and a newsletter she sends out just about every day, and that gives tips to people that are using the computer. Um, and she's very good at it. But she also gives some of the scams, the newest scams that she has found. And another one is this Frank. And I was looking at oh gee, getting mixed up here. Anyway, there's a 33 million phone numbers that were stolen this year from two-factor authorization app, Authy, Authy. Yep. So even that was always our secure point to get a second code so from this company so we could get into our bank account or whatever. Now that's been what do you call it? Jeopardized because 33 million phone numbers have been stolen from that company. So we're going to have problems maybe with that in the future. Another thing I read recently was their job offers out there that are for non-existent positions. Wow. You interview for, yep, apply for one of these jobs. It sounds wonderful. And it comes back, oh, you've been selected. We'll interview you and you answer all these questions. And then you find out, well, a young man recently back in the winter, a fantastic job in Southeast Asia. And he flew over there expecting all good things to happen to him. And he was kidnapped. What it was almost like a slave camp. They were treated like slaves, put in these ridiculous dorm, whatever. He had pictures of this camp, but he was forced to make scam calls, forced to make other people, women, men, to love them, to like them first and love them and then trust them and then finally to give them their money. And this young man just happened to, after 6 months of trying, he was finally able to escape. But what a horrible thing to think that you have been hired for a really nice job and you get there and what you're done is slave and you hardly get paid or fed or any of that. That's really, that's part of the human trafficking I think that is a part of that, right? Yeah. And he was telling in the article of the journalist how these crime syndicate is organizing all of this problem in some of those Southeastern Asian countries, and we have to do something. It's a global experience. I had called it in my book that I wrote back in 2017 that it was an epidemic because people were being forewarned about the scams, and they were still giving money. And in 2017, that's when I was scammed that year, a year later, I read that it was $145 million that was given to scammers. Well, I was horrified with that. And I found out also that probably that was really too low because a lot of people are embarrassed and they won't even report it or they wouldn't share it. But so anyway, there they was, 145 million. And I thought maybe if I wrote my book and shared it, that people would get the idea and stop giving away their money. And so I wrote the book and then later Scams um, to help people avoid the, oh golly, the embarrassment, humiliation that I endured. I lost my daughter and son and my sister. They had admired me after my husband died, how well I had adapted and everything. When they found out that I had gotten scammed, do you think they admired me that much anymore? I don't think so. So I lost some of the respect that they had for me, and I lost my own self-respect. I started doubting whether, golly, am I getting too old? Am I not able to take care of myself? Am I not able to tell the difference between the real and the fake? And why did I do that? I knew better. My kids had warned me about scammers on the internet. How come I fell for that? Well, it's thinking about a romantic relationship when you're lonely with this person who seems to connect with you, seems to, you have a lot in common with them. They want to get to know you better. And I don't know, one man promised me when we got married, when he got out of his contract he was a shipping, well, it was an oil rig scam, actually, is what it was. And he said, well, oh yeah, when I get retired out of this contract, we're going to take a worldwide cruise and see the world on a beautiful ship. And wow, that would sound exciting to me. But anyway, I called the scams epidemic back in 2018 when I wrote my book. Finally, now they're calling it a tsunami. I saw this morning, a tsunami fraud. And the U.S. is way behind in dealing with this problem. The problem is so huge. It's like, some tsunami is like a tidal wave, a huge tidal wave and it leaves behind such um, like think of a hurricane only with water. I mean, and I don't know why the law enforcement is behind. It said in this news report I saw this morning that the U.S. is lagging way behind the United Kingdom and Australia and some of the other countries in trying to combat and help their people that are getting scammed. So anyway, if you have been a victim of a scam, what do you do? Well, you report it. You report it to the FTC. You report it to FBI. I think there's an ic3.gov. You can report it to the Secretary of State of the state that you live in. Report it to your local police, because I was told any investigation has to start with your local police. And we're trying, there's a group now called Operation Shamrock, in which we are trying to educate law enforcement officers and bank executives and other executives in this huge problem, so we can kill the business. Well, I came up with this kind of hook a few years back. So stop feeding the animals. Oh, I mean criminals. They are criminals, and when you give them money, you're feeding them. Oh boy, you're feeding them very well. And then you're getting poorer, they're getting wealthy. This one guy was scamming 6 women at once at the same time. Another guy, that if you watch the movie Tender Swindler, I think so, the name of it, something like that. He was dating twin sisters. One of them had a lot of money and one of them didn't. And so he was swindling the one that had the money and spending it on the one who didn't. I mean, give me a break. That sounds awful to me. But and then he has the nerve to say, well, it's not a crime because she gave me the money. You see how they work it? They are masters at manipulation and masters at getting what they want out of you. So you forewarn, don't answer the phone. Don't, unless you know the number, and don't click on a link in a email that you got from them or a pop-up that showed on your computer screen. You got to think safety. You got to look at these deals and see, is this really coming from my bank? Is this really coming from the person that they say they are? Or is it coming from a stranger who is going to hurt me financially, emotionally, if I fall in love with them, and physically? I think in 2 weeks ago when I talked about scams, I was telling you about the woman whose body was found in the Mississippi River, and she had been victim of a romance scam in which she had lost everything. I'm going to suggest a movie to you. I watched it twice last week. It's called The Beekeeper. And the beekeeper, the bee, I wanted revenge when I found out that I had given money to a scammer. I wanted revenge, but I was almost 80 years old. And so what could I do? Well, this beekeeper happens to be the neighbor and good friend of a lady next door who gets scammed. And he belongs to a society of beekeepers who's kind of adopt some of the habits of the bees and the fact of the protection of their hives, the protection of their loved ones, and he wreaks revenge on. And you know what? Oh my gosh, that movie, I was on the edge of my seat. I really was. And thinking, yay, yeah, yes, yes. um, but the thing is, the law enforcement people were battling the man who was trying to rectify the situation. It's the man who was finally getting through to the people who were stealing money from those that had worked hard all of their lives. I think you would enjoy that movie. I sure did. And wish I had had a beekeeper friend back in those days. Help me to get even with that money and maybe even get some of my money back. So let's see. Another thing I found today in China, they have now made a realistic mask and they were advertising it for sale for around $1,200 to $3,000. And this mask is so good that it fools or it can bypass identity checks. Oh my, what's that going to do to our country? If you can buy somebody else's face and put it on your own and go do what you want to do, wow, it scares me. It really does. There are insurance scams out there now, and it said car theft is up 30%. Oh, I'm sorry to be such a depressing, giving you such a depressing statistics today, but I really do feel that you need to know. I've been an educator all my life, and so once I got scammed, I wanted to tell the world, not just tell them, hey, feel sorry for me. No. Or, oh, well, she should have known better. Yeah, no, but you know what? We don't deserve that. We're victims of a huge um, set of, criminals. What is it? A syndicate that is doing this not only to us by stealing our money, but to other people that they are make these calls. And that's not fair either. I just found the paper about the loyalty point scam. It's two main versions of this loyalty points phishing scam, it says. And one of them, you are informed. You get a simple message informing you that your loyalty points will soon expire. It urges you to redeem them to avoid losing your rewards. And scammers often will add random points that will expire in 2 or 3 days to encourage you to do this as quickly as possible. And then if you click on the link in the ad or the text message or whatever, guess what? They're going to have your information to your financial institutions, and your money is going to disappear. In the second scenario, the scammers inform you that you've been given some reward points as a bonus for being a loyal customer, and they'll mention that these points will expire in just a few days, and you need to unlock your gift right away. So you click on the link in the text message, and you're directed to a fake but very professionally presented website that offers electronic gifts, and you'll be prompted to choose a gift in exchange for your loyalty points, such as wireless earbuds, a fancy phone case, or some other small gadget. And after you select your gift, you will be asked to pay a small fee, typically $1, to redeem it. And that's when the scammer gets your bank details. I've been even hearing that some people will send a empty Amazon box to your house. And I don't know, remember exactly how that worked, but there's nothing inside of it. So what is their point in sending you an empty box? Well, there's probably a number or a website or something on there that you're supposed to call to get it. And then when you do that, well, guess what? They want your financial information. Here are some typical ways that these scammers get their hands on your phone number. They steal lists of phone numbers from company databases after data breaches. They buy phone number lists on a dark web. They also collect numbers from social media and public directories. Makes me nervous because my phone number is out there because of my business and my book. But haven't found another way to take care of that yet. And sometimes, they just dial a random number. And if you answer, aha, they know that one works and they keep it. But if nobody answers, they just scratch that one off their list. But anyway, there are people that impersonate companies from Aviva and from Asia and South Africa and so on. Here was a picture of one. I don't know if it'll come out, but here, this one says, let's see if I can show you what it looked like. Here we go. It was from Vodafone. And to prevent unredeemed points from becoming invalid, please redeem them before midnight. Wow. Hi, from Vodafone. We've noticed that your Vodafone points in your account have got to 5,340 and will expire in 3 working days. Please redeem the points for available rewards before they expire. And then it gives it's blacked out here, but it gives a fake link for you to click on and go from there. So, well, has anybody out there got a joke that we could maybe end with today? About, I don't know, you can't really joke around the subject. It's pretty depressing. But if you are diligent and you look for spelling errors and grammar errors, suspicious links that you shouldn't click on, a sense of urgency, a request for money, a request for your personal information, then you're probably going to be safe. But no matter what you do, you need to be careful. I feel almost like I did back a year ago when I got a death threat. My kids told me, "Yep, it's a death threat, Mom. It's a scams. They go around just for the fun of it, doing this death threat, or they request money or to leave you alone or whatever, just to get, And the police told me it was a scam. But you know what? I would look around before I went outside. As I went safely to my car, and boy, I opened that door quickly to get in. Sometimes they even envision it blowing up in front of me like they do on TV. Oh my goodness. But we must be diligent in our safety. We must be diligent in checking out the letters we get, the phone calls we get, things on the internet. Look for spelling errors. Look for grammar that doesn't make sense. Make sure that that thing came from somebody, that an email came from somebody that you did not initiate. I didn't buy a drill. Why? Why was I being thanked for paying $349 for a drill? Um, Lucky, some of them had the last four digits of my credit card or my bank account or whatever. And I looked at it and I said, well, that's not my bank account. So it's really, really, really something will jump out at you, I'm sure. And you need to warn your family and your friends, everybody you know, about, the tsunami called scams, because how are we going to tell people to stop sending money to these criminals? And if it happens to you, then you reach out to support groups. Watch out for Operation Shamrock. That is an organization I have joined to help give support to victims, and I offer people a chance to tell their stories on this channel, this podcast, so that other people are forewarned and stop giving your money. That's what the report that we want to get out there, because if we don't give our money to them, then it's not going to be profitable. And you think they're going to continue trying? Eventually, it's going to stop. But it's almost up to us, the people, to stop this horrible crime, because the law enforcement doesn't feel it is a crime. A lot of them, but they're learning, and hopefully one of these days they will know that this is real. This is a epidemic, a pandemic of loss for elderly people, a loss for teenagers, college kids. I saw one, there was a dorm fraudster. I can't remember now what they were doing in the dorms, but they were stealing information of other students so that they could steal their money. Pig butchering, have you heard that term yet? Someone asked me, Shelby, what's pig butchering? I said, well, I guess you've got to listen to my podcast so you can learn. But pig butchering is the Japanese term that means pig butchering is what the Japanese and Chinese use to describe this crime. And that's what is now being used here in the United States too, pig butchering. That's what this crime is. And although I hate to say that, hey, I was pig butchered, but darn it, that's what it was. I was fed compliments and love, expressions of love. I think they call it love bombing. And they fattened me up and then led me to the slaughter by stealing my money. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that it was educational. I'm sorry it was such a depressing subject, but that's the way it is. But thank you for being at Learning to Dance in the Rain today. I hope to see you again next Tuesday, every Tuesday at noon. Next Tuesday, we'll be talking with a man from California, and he's going to be telling us his story of a romance scam. with that, I'm going to remind you that my books are available on Amazon.com. And on my Learning to Dance in the Rain, you want to be sure you get the 3rd edition. That's the one that's available now through Amazon. Otherwise, you don't have the right, most update one. And I'm going to say stay safe and bye now. Take care.